So on PM Express tonight, after all that you've heard about the rescued Canadian girls, what are the lessons for similar unsolved cases? And that is what we're going to delve into tonight with people who understand these issues. Now, we know that the details as provided by government, the two girls had gone missing for almost a week. We know that by now. Now, operation involved, from the government account, involved the CID, the BNI, officials of the National Security Council, the military intelligence. This is a joint operation. All parts of the state security apparatus was involved in trying to get the Canadians rescued, the two Canadian women rescued. We know that this took some 25 minutes to complete the operation, and there was a lot involved in that. We are learning from the Information Ministry today, from that press conference, that part of this 25 minutes included shots, gunshots that the Information Minister says were fired from within the compound, or from within the building where the kidnappers were, together with the kidnapped two girls as well. And the Information Minister, though, didn't say anything about whether or not our officers returned fire. But he talks about our success in breaching that particular building and successfully rescuing the girls. What we're going to do tonight, after all that you've heard during the day, is to scrutinize how this operation went, but most importantly, draw the lessons from there. We're trying to put the bits and pieces we've heard from the Information Minister, make sense of it, and see where the lessons are. So the 25 minutes, an intense operation of gunshots coming from within. What did it take for us to breach that property with our men as well? We'll look into that. We also know that as of tonight, as far as government is concerned, no foreign assets were involved in this particular operation. And this is in spite of the fact that we know that the Canadians have flown in experts from Canada into Ghana to assist us. The Information Minister was asked this specific question. So what about those Canadian officials who were in Ghana to assist us? He confirms that indeed it's true that the Canadians had flown in experts to help us, but he says these experts were in the country exploring the possibility of helping us, but they didn't actually help us. They didn't help us in any way because our men did it all by themselves. We will scrutinize that, because if you look from the Canadian side, the state broadcaster, CBC, is reporting something different. They say they know that the Canadian officials worked with our security agencies to effect the rescue. We'll look at that when we get into the details. Now, how many people have been arrested? 8 in all. 3 Nigerians, we know. 5 Ghanaians have been picked up already in this. Suspects have been flown to Accra, as we know, and they have been interrogated further just to make sure that there are no other accomplices involved in this. What about the victims? The victims are unhurt. A statement that the NGO they work with in Canada had issued today said there had been a medical examination of them. The report from the examination says they are unhurt, they're in good condition. Psychologists have been provided for them. They have assessed them, and they are on their way almost flying back to Canada as we know it. So the fundamental question to ask is, we know the Tardy girls are still missing. We know they are still missing. 3 of them are still missing. So are there any lessons from this? Because this has been very swift. Less than a week, all of them rescued, 2 of them rescued. Can we draw any lessons from this to solve the Tardy girls case as well? That is the conversation we're having tonight. Stay with us after the break. My guest in the studio tonight, Adam Bonai, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited. He's also a security analyst. Also with me in the studio is retired Superintendent of Police, Peter Lanchani Tobu, who is also my guest tonight. We would also bring you how the Canadian state broadcaster is reporting this particular development tonight. But what we want to do tonight is to dissect what has happened and what we've been told, what we know so far, what intelligence is telling us, and also would also then look into how that gives us any lessons for the unsolved cases that still remain as far as kidnapping is concerned. Peter, let me start with you. I mean, it has been a very hectic day, I guess, for all involved. From what the Information Minister told us, the final rescue mission happened around 5 a.m. today. So I'm sure your colleagues had been very busy. Yeah. This must have started way before 5. Because you need intelligence, you track the people to a location, and then you breach, and then you rescue. From all that you've heard, what's your reaction? All around good story for your fellow colleagues, former colleagues, and obviously for the women involved and for the country.
Thank you very much, Ivan. It's a very good question. But before I start, let me just acknowledge the good work that has been done by our security agencies in this country. I'm sure that if we hear these good stories all the time, all of us will be excited. But it doesn't happen all the time like that. I also want to show appreciation to your cherished viewers. Kumasi and kidnapping. It just didn't start this morning. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that this case took place, it happened a few days ago. And since then, because there are foreigners involved, we have given them the due attention that we need to do, because this is a crime. And we really don't care who they are. Crime is a crime, and whoever is involved as a victim is a victim. So the police have done the best that they can, and you realize that for the first time, to me, the collaboration and coordination between all agencies under national security was really right top there.
To be very specific, we're talking about CID, we're talking about BNI, we're talking about the military intelligence, the National Security Council operative.
Everybody who mattered in the area of security, very particularly internal security, got involved. And it wasn't just merely getting involved. They coordinated well. And the collaboration was strong. And the result is what we see. So for me, this is good news.
Yeah, but are you surprised at the swiftness? Because this kidnapping happened less than a week, 6 days.
Well, you're saying it's swift. But you know what? Every crime is unique. Kidnapping can happen 2-3 years and is unresolved. True. And then something can happen this morning and within 2 hours it's resolved.
But speed is of the essence, is not? Because you have the 48-hour window within which the longer it takes to track and pay attention to it, the harder it becomes to find them.
That is true. But where is the information? You track based on information. If you have all the leads and the tracking is easy, you can do that within a day or two or within a month. But sometimes it's become very difficult for you to get the right information. It could take a year. There are several unsolved crimes in this world, yet new crimes are being solved every day. So it's nothing new. It is just so sad that it is a wish that as we speak, tomorrow morning, if we find the Takoradi girls, I'm sure everybody will be excited. But that is life.
Okay. Now, I'll come to you, Adam Bona, but let's even go back to before even the 5 a.m. real rescue attempt. If you look at the swiftness, you need first to get intelligence, to track. And we know now that the hostel where they were staying had been closed down because they didn't even have the basic things in place to make sure their residents are exactly
to operate.
There was no CCTV there. Where they were kidnapped, there's no report of a CCTV around that area. But they've been successful in tracking them to this location and effecting a successful rescue. That's fascinating.
Yeah, good evening to listeners and good evening to my brother. He recently just retired.
Yes. So, how long ago has it been though?
Just about 1.5 months now.
Oh wow! So this is really fresh after the service. Fresh after the service.
A fresh civilian.
Yeah.
Yes. So he joined us. He's found his voice. Yeah. Tomorrow morning he will not be asked to face any service inquiry.
No.
Yes. To the main issue now. Time is of the essence when it comes to kidnappings. And for me, even this took too long. If you know, after the Takoradi missing girls issue came up, all other, kidnapping attempts and missing persons that were reported, all of them were resolved within the first 48 hours. For instance, if you take the issue of the Estonian Lebanese national who was abducted and, kind of kidnapped, he was rescued in less than hours. He was rescued. If you take the Indian guy, it didn't take more than 48 hours, he was freed. If you take the case of the incident in Amasaman, where this Ghanaian woman and her houseboy were, kidnapped, taken into that bush, Within the same day when the issue was reported, the police found their way there to rescue them, even though eventually the houseboy, we are told, died because of, I think they shot him or something. But the police were able to rescue, and that's that particular Amasaman incident, the police managed to secure conviction, and that guy is in, prison custody as we speak. Eventually or subsequently, we've had other copycats kidnapping, missing girls who were leaving school and sometimes hiding in the bedrooms of their boyfriends and all that, and the police rescued some of them. And one of them actually, the guy, I think he was also sentenced, or that he's in custody. And so, for me, within the matter of an hour after these Canadians went missing, the issue became public notice. And it is this that would usually help the security agencies and media and everybody, the public, to be able to. But
we never had their picture until after they've been rescued. I mean, that was a fundamental. I didn't see their picture until after.
I had their picture the moment they.
But the police statement they issued didn't come with a picture.
No, it is because, you see, in this country, we make it. There are certain things I have said repeatedly in security. I mean, you don't do propaganda with security because the pictures were there, but the police didn't want us to know. Some of us had the pictures, but the police said, "Oh, you see, formally we don't want their pictures to be there." Meanwhile, the pictures were there the very moment they got lost. I mean, they were taken against their wish. And so mine is that you wouldn't have seen the picture. I'm sure you probably don't want to put it out there, but the pictures were there.
No, but if we had it, we would have put it, because that's the best way.
The pictures, even their passport details, their Canadian citizenship passport details, were there, out there in the open.
You knew because, of your own intelligence network.
But what I'm saying is that the information was there.
Okay, the police had it.
And the fact that the information was there within the first 1 hour aided this rescue, and for me, it's even taking too long. This Takoradi case, that sometimes is unfortunate, but if we are not very careful, we are going to be comparing apples to
We'll come to that. We'll come to what we can draw from this to apply to the Takoradi case. But I want to quickly bring you what you've heard before, but this time we're going to scrutinize it a bit more. The Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, who is Information Minister, laying out details of the rescue mission, from where they first got intelligence and the final attempt to rescue them this morning. He lays out for us the timeline leading to the rescue. I want to listen closer to him. I'll have my guests analyze what he says and see if there are any lessons there to learn us also. Listen to Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah.
Intelligence gathering efforts enabled the security agencies to zero in on persons who were associated with the incident. At 1900 hours on June 11, 2019, the first arrest was made in connection with this incident. By 21:15 hours on that same day, one of the persons who was an accomplice, or believed to be an accomplice, directly involved in this incident was also arrested by the joint team running this operation. A local Ghanaian contact who was providing harboring for the kidnappers was apprehended around 20:45 hours that same night, leading to the arrest of other accomplices. The holding place of the victims was subsequently surrounded just before 5 a.m. this morning, and by 5:15 a.m., the joint team had breached the premises with the hope of rescuing the women. Gunshots were fired from within the premises, but the brief we have is that it took about 25 minutes to complete this operation. At the end of the operation, the two Nigerians who were holding the women had been subdued, and a third Nigerian, believed to be the leader of the gang, was arrested later at a separate location. At the end, and currently, 5 Ghanaians and 3 Nigerians are in custody for this incident. One of the suspects is reported to have sustained minor injuries. Other investigations and possible arrests are still ongoing. The victims have been flown to Accra, are currently in Accra. They have been in contact with the Canadian authorities and are undergoing the necessary evaluations following a traumatic incident like this. Preliminary indications that we have is that they are fine.
So that is the information minister there. Peter, let me bring you in because I know you've been involved in a lot of operations as a superintendent of the police. One of the things that struck me as curious, and this is the information minister, so I need to take him seriously. He says that it's also much about what he says and what he doesn't say. He says shots were fired from within the premises where the kidnapped girls were being held. He didn't say if the officers who went there returned fire. He says they breached it nonetheless and rescued the girls. You have a knowledge of operational activities such as this. What's your comment on that?
Thank you very much, Evans. The truth of the matter is, if you are designing an operational strategy to be able to deal with hostage situations of this nature, the first thing you do is you assess the threat. The threat assessment is going to inform you how to develop your tactical strategy. And if you get in there and there is a likelihood that guns will be fired, and you have understood that, in fact, they were armed, what you ought to know is that you do a bit of damage control and understanding also that somebody could die out of that. So I'm sure that the police went there armed, knowing that these other people, the criminals, were also armed. But if the analysis show that these gunshots that were coming, according to Kojo upon Nkrumah Honorable, that these gunshots that were coming from within the premises were gunshots that probably were not directed at the security. And there was a way to breach the building without any of the police officers getting injured. That is beautiful. But the fact is, when you hear a gunshot, you should be ready to return fire. Okay, so
how are security people, how are you guys trained? So if you look at the team that went there,
yes.
CID, the counter, because he didn't even mention counterterrorism, CID, SWAT team from the National Security Council.
There was a blend.
There was a blend of everybody, right?
Police,
You know how these people are trained.
Sure.
So you are doing some operation, you hear gunshots from inside. What would be the instinctive reaction?
But let me tell you, the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service, the level of training that we've taken them through, including foreign training, I am sure they can rescue these girls without firing a single shot.
Even when they are under fire?
Yes, even when they are under fire. Because the fact is that it depends upon the direction of the bullet that they are experiencing. They could be firing to the east, and they could break this building from the west. So it is possible. Unless you are on the ground to dispute that. But as long as I'm on the ground, the possibility is there, and I will not doubt it, that it happened.
It's also possible, and because, again, we're just going with the government information.
Sure.
And I must insist, they didn't tell us if there was an exchange. I'm sure he would have said there was an exchange of gunfire. But he says shots came. And the reason why that's important, because I'm interested in it, there was an opportunity for him to clarify that, because a question was asked of him post when he read from this, and he repeated it, that the shots came only from within the premises. It's also possible, from what you're saying, that because they're so well trained, they could have distracted the suspect,
yes,
taking the attention to a certain direction.
And they could be shooting in the wrong direction.
And coming from the other side.
One problem that I have actually with Honorable Kojo Nkrumah doing the briefing had to do with the fact that you are not a tactical man.
But he would have been briefed by the tactical people.
I mean, I understand that. But internationally, when such operations are over, you need a tactical man to do a bit of briefing. And so it's very brief. You see, there is a statement that he made. One of the suspects was reported injured.
Yeah, minor injuries.
Right? Minor injuries. The tactical man will tell you straight, not reported injured. One of the suspects in the process got injured, and he will tell you exactly what the injury is.
If it's a bullet wound,
whatever it is.
But then again, here's the thing: he didn't even say it is bullet wound. He said injury.
Yes.
So I'm assuming it's not a bullet wound. He should have said it.
Well, that is an assumption.
You will need a
certified
medical practitioner to even tell you that it's a minor injury.
But because that he used the word minor.
If you say minor, well, I mean, because we know when they were arrested, I'm sure who was he taken to hospital? Who confirmed it was
So you're saying that
for
that pronouncement itself must be based on a certain medical assessment of the person to determine if it's minor. Okay. We don't know if they did that though. I mean, so
he didn't say
the degree of injury. We don't know.
The degree of injury,
whether it was a bullet wound or probably in the process of trying to run out, he fell on the way. Nobody knows. But at least we are conclusive that he got injured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So very interesting points you made there. So you're saying it's very possible that yes, gunshots were coming from the inside, and they did not fire a warning, did not fire a shot back, and still managed to breach and were successful.
Sure.
But that's the thing. They didn't only rescue the girls, they apprehended everybody in that building.
Yes.
Is that still possible?
Listen.
Because these people were armed, apparently.
If you breach the building, and the suspects see you as a surprise, and they know you have a higher firepower than them, right? At that point, when they attempt to fire, they can be killed. But at that point, when they surrender, there's no need, because the police were supposed to use force according to proportionality. So if the resistance level is not requiring the firing of a gun, well, they could be carrying the gun all right, but you don't have to fire. At that material moment, they probably will be vulnerable, and their lives will protect lives and property. Whether you are a criminal or you are a very sane person or you are a very right citizen, your life is important to the police officer. So at that point that you are vulnerable, they will not fire. They will protect your life and property. And I'm sure that that is what probably happened.
Mr. Bonner, you say that your own sources tell you that this wasn't a one-way firing. This was an exchange.
Yes.
An exchange suggests that the guys from within, the kidnappers, fired. The rescuers, our men, the good guys, returned fire.
Exactly.
That's what your sources say.
Even this evening I confirmed it, but I can't give my source.
Of course, of course.
If the guys were not apprehended within the building, if you realize they cuffed them outside the building. They cuffed them outside the building. It tells you, and my source, this morning confirmed it, this evening confirmed it again, that it's almost like playing that psychological warfare, where you have these guys with, side arms, firing at you, and so you've got to return fire. And once they had the firepower that was coming from outside, they eventually got subdued.
But here's my question, though. This is a rescue mission.
Yeah.
There are two kidnapped girls.
Were in the building.
In the building.
Yeah.
For the sort of training that these counter-terrorist guys, joint guys have, would they have returned fire, knowing that they don't know for one? No, you don't know which part of the building.
You don't return the building. It's
they
not
were
a very big one. You don't return fire, because the building was surrounded. Because then what they done overnight before they had to do the rescue was to make sure they design it in a way that everybody you take position.
Okay.
And then, because there are people, you would have those who would have to do the break-in and those who must take position.
Except possibly you thermal imaging. That would have given you the heat signatures of everybody in that building.
So then what then happened was when they returned fire, the guys eventually, I'm told, were ordered to come out.
Okay.
But let me tell you this, is it?
They were ordered because then you could return fire without actually aiming at the building and shooting at them.
So
just to intimidate them.
So that would have been a surrender.
Yes. So they surrounded. I'm sure they have even seen, I think, a video there where they were cuffed outside the premises.
The premises. We've seen videos, pictures of the building.
Yes, which means, if that would have anything to do with my source, what it simply just means was that when the guys fired at them, they needed to let them know we are really armed from all over the building.
We've surrounded you.
And therefore, we are asking you to come out.
And you say that from your sources, the people just came up.
Yes,
yes. And surrendered their weapons and handed themselves
in. And you can see, yes, they did. Yes,
okay.
In that
and
manner.
handed the girls
over. Yes,
and
those who didn't, eventually, they went in there. And so, something
that is interesting. And there was something small I picked up on. We'll bring you the Canadian State Broadcasters report on this. They constantly use the word release. That the kidnappers released the girls. We use the words rescue.
Yeah.
From what you describe, if indeed that's what happened and the guys handed themselves in, and they handed the girls over, that would be akin to release of the girls.
No, that wouldn't be, because release would actually be in a calm manner where they tell you we are going to leave them at a certain spot, go there, they are there, so they've been released.
Okay.
But where the building is surrounded,
and the girls were in the building,
and the girls were in the building, and you fire at the security operatives who were attempting the rescue, that would not be deemed to be released.
Even though
the guys eventually might have surrounded, it means that they might have also come under a certain amount of firepower to surrender to the security operatives. And so as for the Canadians and most of these Western countries, they would have to do their own.
Yeah, of course, it could be pure, pure semantics and use of different language.
Exactly.
But yes,
so,
in scenarios like this, we need to play the mind game.
Okay.
Probably we're just very lucky that these suspects never pointed the guns at the girls.
Yeah. Okay.
Because in some scenarios, you could get into the building and they can put the gun straight into the face of the victim and tell you, if you fire me, I fire. Because the life that you are trying to save, the very precious life that you are trying to save, they use them as a shield. So whatever you will do, you will probably end up by killing all, and which nobody wants to do that. So if there is a way out, they came out from the building, and the girls also came out by themselves. What it probably meant was that the forces that went there demonstrated enough firepower.
Yes.
Okay.
And
to subdue them.
Yes, and they sprung the surprise that these guys never expected that they would be located.
Okay.
And since they never expected that would be located, and all of a sudden the police surrounded the building, and when you hear, if you're a criminal, you hear the sound of a gun, you'll be able to tell what kind of, you'll know what kind of gun it is. This crop probably is an M16, or it is not just an ordinary AK-47. And if you are having a pistol, what can it do to you? So the best thing to do in order not to be torn into shreds is just to be humble.
Yes, and which they did.
And which they did.
Okay, and not harm the kidnapped girl.
Not harm the kidnapped.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, in all accounts, the best possible scenario
Yes.
any officer going into a rescue mission will hope for, where we arrest all the kidnappers and then all the kidnapped. And nobody is injured. You get my right. This is the best possible scenario that you hope for. And just a quick point, and then we'll move on to the next step of analysis. Isn't this a testament to how capable our men in uniform are?
You're talking about the capacity of our men in uniform.
Yeah.
That was never in doubt. I've said this over and over again. When you look at Ghana police officers, the military, in the international arena, when we go to integrated peace support operations, we're always on top, among the best.
I see.
But when we come back home, there are several local challenges militating against our performance, and everybody knows that. So if you talk about our capacity, we don't have any doubt. I'm sure if we are guided and well equipped, there is nothing we can do. One thing I have to say, every crime is unique. Okay. The success in Kumasi doesn't mean it's a best practice that can be borrowed and cascaded across the country. It is probably the scenario that has come, the scenario that rolled out by itself. The behavior of the victims. You see, these are security conscious victims from Canada. They are well trained. Yeah. And what it meant was they were very submissive to their kidnappers, or else in any violence they could have been killed. In any hostage-taking situation, you need to respect your kidnappers. If they ask you to lie down, you lie down. If they ask you to sit, you sit. Just be what? Submissive.
In fact,
it's just like a prisoner of war situation.
In any situation in which you're under attack, under by an armed robber, anybody,
be submissive.
You have to be submissive.
That is it. And that is the best defense. If you want to struggle a little, they'll shoot you to death. But for us to have such a scenario running out this morning, and the police are there and everything sounds very well, not a single person was seriously injured. Yeah. Because even the injury we are saying is minor. It was a minor injury.
It's the best possible scenario.
That is fantastic.
Okay. So, quick comment on this?
I mean, yes. For me, with regards to how tactical our, security operatives are, yes. I mean, I've been in their midst once for, an operation they undertook, and it will marvel you, how coordinated they were. And so I have no doubts when it comes to especially the tactical unit within the police service. They are highly trained, highly trained.
We'll come to the question many people are asking tonight. If what you guys are saying is true, why having to deploy the same capability to rescue our own girls entirely? We'll come to that. But linked to this just analysis we just did is about capability to do the kind of job, is whether or not we did this by ourselves. Now, this is Kojo Nkrumah, this is government's position on this particular question. Government is absolutely setting, and there's no room here to even doubt this, as far as government is concerned, that the operation that was done today was done entirely by ourselves from beginning to the end with no Canadian assistance whatsoever. Listen to Kojo Nkrumah on that.
The operation involved the CID of the Ghana Police Service, the Bureau of National Investigations, the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit of the National Security Council, and Defense Intelligence. No foreign assets were involved in the operation. I repeat, no foreign assets were involved in the operation. Satellite data from the Canadians is not correct. As I've mentioned, no foreign assets were involved in this operation. It is our understanding that this Canadian team was in town to explore ways by which they could help in rescuing these young ladies, but that was not necessary, as our security apparatus was on the ground and had clarity on what to do. So yes, it's true, there was a Canadian team in town. They were in town, we are told, to explore ways by which they could find other ways of helping with this matter. But as we are informed, our people on the ground had clarity on what to do, and the result is what...
So yes, the Canadian officials were here. Mr. Nkrumah says they were trying to find out how they can assist, but our men did it. So we didn't need them. They didn't help us. But in Canada, the state broadcaster has a different story about whether they assisted us or not. I mean, and they reported this differently. Watch how they broke the news on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation today.
Women are free today after a rescue operation in West Africa. They were kidnapped a week ago in Ghana in the major city of Kumasi. Now, Lauren Tilley on the left of a picture we're about to show you, and Bailey Chitty had been working with a group called Youth Challenge International. They're reported to be physically unhurt and getting emotional and psychological support from professionals. More details are starting to come in about these two women, and Stephanie Skandaris is here with that story. So, Steph, what do we know at this stage?
Well, the breaking details right now, Natasha, is the identity of these two women. Let's bring up that photo again so we can show you what they look like. We have Lauren Tilley on the left there and Bailey Chitty on the right. We know one of them is 19 years old and the other 20, but we're still learning more about who they are and where they come from. They were identified by the organization with which they were volunteering when they were abducted. That is Youth Challenge International. That's an NGO that's based in Toronto. And I can show you a little more of what Youth Challenge International said in a statement about how these women are doing. They said they are safe, and both the police and government of Ghana are ensuring the young women's protection in Ghana. Bailey and Lauren are receiving emotional and psychological support from professionals as they travel home. Medical reports are that they are both physically unhurt. Now, Youth Challenge International also says these young women's parents have been in contact with their daughters and are expressing gratitude to Ghana police and government, who we know have been working on this since it happened in the evening of June 4th. And I can show you a map of where exactly this took place. These young women were taken from the Kumasi Royal Golf Club, according to local police. That is in Kumasi, a major city in central Ghana. It is normally considered safe, but this is the second kidnapping in this area in recent months.
And what do we know about how they were released?
Well, what we have right now is some sparse details from both the Canadian and Ghanaian governments. The Canadian government confirmed their release in an email to CBC, and I can show you more of it here. They said the government is very relieved to confirm that the two Canadians who were kidnapped in Ghana have been released. We would like to thank the government of Ghana for their cooperation in the resolution of this case. And they said consular services are being provided. Now, we know, as I said, that Canadian officials were working with Ghana police, with local authorities and security agencies to free these women. And the word that they were freed first came.
And the word that were freed first came in from the Canadian side of this. But just before that, he talks about, we know, and this is what the CBC, the Canadian, this is state broadcaster, we know, as far as they're concerned, the Canadian government has told them that their officials were in Ghana and had assisted and collaborated with their Ghanaian officials, security agencies, to effect the rescue. Mr. Bonner, that is two different sides of the same, two different sides to the story. Government says, Canadians, yes, they were here, but they didn't help us. We did this all by ourselves. He even denied the suggestion that we have even had satellite help to track the movement. He said that didn't happen at all. When he was asked a follow-up question, he says, well, they were here. They were looking to see how they can assist us. But, you know, by the time they figured this out, we had done this by ourselves. That is not entirely what the story is on the Canadian side. They say, our officials came down, we worked together with the Ghanaians. Where do you stand on that? I know you have sources.
Yeah, yes, I do. That's not everything I can put out there.
No, but just share what you know.
Well, what I know, I mean, probably would have to maintain what Kojo Ponkrumah put out there, that this was done entirely by... Entirely.
So here's a follow-up question. So you believe that the Canadian officials flew in 24 hours from Canada to Ghana, went to Kumasi, and never assisted in this process, never, not even with advice and not with logistical intelligence, which they have superiorly because of their technical know-how, totally hands off from the Canadians. You believe that?
Well, the truth is that that is a possibility, and my source tells me this was done entirely by the Ghanaian security agents, and so I would want to go by that, but I would want to hope that the Canadian government would need to clarify this, because then Kojo Ponkrumah spoke on behalf of the Republic of Ghana, spoke on our behalf, but we are having a report from the CBC.
The CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
Good, CBC, and not directly not a direct information coming from any official from Canada. For all you know,
the only official information that CBC received quotes the Canadian government as saying they are thankful to Ghana government for the cooperation in resolving the matter.
Exactly. Okay. So for me, it would be good to hear directly from the Canadian government. They have their representative here. The ambassador or High Commissioner is here, and so we've got to hear from them directly to counter what some of us know of how this rescue mission panned out and how it's ended. But as far as I'm concerned, so it's not everything that we can put out there. The good thing is that they have been rescued, and once they've been rescued, I mean, we can celebrate and say that this shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Peter.
Yes. I don't know what the problem is. The Canadians are saying that thank you, Ghana, for the cooperation, and we are excited that our girls are released. Honorable Kojo Ponkrumah is saying, Canada, they had some policemen, they came down here, and then they intended to assist. And probably they were giving detailed briefing as to what the strategy is and what they plan to do, and they felt satisfied. So they relaxed and said, please go ahead. And that could mean why he's saying, oh, they never took part. But there is no way they can come down here and they will not be briefed as to what we are doing. So if they are satisfied with the plans that we put in place to rescue these girls, and they were very sure that the operation will be successful without their intervention, I mean, that is cooperation. But it can't be a zero-sum game, like, oh, nothing happened. They came down here, we didn't need them, they assessed and realized that they didn't need to do anything for us, and so they didn't do anything.
So you have a problem with the way the government couched it?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I don't know what government intends to achieve when they say, yeah, they came down here and assessed and they realized that they didn't need to do anything for us. Even for them not to conclude that they don't need to do anything to support us meant that the Ghana Police Service, with all its partners, had a strategy that was a world class. And the Canadians agreed to that. So agreeing to that alone was a collaboration. So at least they had a role to play.
Okay.
But I'm also aware that...
and you make an important point.
Yes.
So the Canadians, in a statement to CBC, said, we thank the Ghanaian government
for the collaboration.
For the collaboration and in helping resolve the matter.
They went to Kumasi.
So you say that you expect the same from our side.
Oh, yes.
That yes, we've done this ourselves.
Yes.
But yet we acknowledge you guys came.
Yes.
And
Thank
if
you
not
for
for anything,
us.
exactly,
Yes,
for
thank
understanding.
you for understanding that and
you know,
believing that our security strategy was going to work.
I get your point.
Yeah.
I mean, what I picked up the first day of the, kidnapping, I think the first 24 hours or so, those here, the Canadians here were really not sharing too much of information.
But they wanted us to keep this totally under wraps.
I was worried because then they've been kidnapped, and if we have to keep this, we have to keep quiet over it, the longer it's, it goes on, the difficult it becomes, and our name is going to be there that probably, is there, that Ghana at the moment, there's a lot of insecurity, which is quite true. And so as far as I'm concerned, I believe that the moment they started opening up, then they collaborate, us collaborating with them became easy.
Yes. So the Canadians gave us at least some information about these girls?
Exactly, because eventually it was difficult because then reaching the girls, where they were was difficult. And these people, information I picked were, communicating with some people in Canada.
I see.
And so we needed...
The kidnappers?
Yes, we needed some information about what was going on. Because then if they've done a bypass and they are communicating and we don't know what is going on there, it was definitely going to be difficult if you don't have information.
And the Canadians could provide that information.
Yes,
because
and so they could do it because the information has been sent, the number calling you, even if it's, even if you hide your number, there is a way to figure out, to crack the code.
Yes.
And so eventually when they started, collaborating, that itself was something significant that led to, this particular...
So you agree that the government approach in totally discounting the Canadian involvement, I mean, even if it's no involvement, the fact that they...
No, they shouldn't have discounted the Canadian, government or the Canadians' involvement in this whole exercise. Because I can also say that without they, providing probably some information, it was definitely going to be difficult
for us.
Evans, don't let's stretch this. Let me make a statement. You and I sitting here will ask the very simple question: does it make sense? But Honorable Kojo Nkrumah might ask a different question: does it make political sense? Ghana and Canada has strong diplomatic ties over the years, and I'm sure that there would have been a meeting between Ghana and Canada at the very top level before this press conference. So if Kojo Nkrumah comes to say, listen, the Canadians came, oh yes, but they realized that they didn't need to do anything for us because everything was all right. Probably it made a lot of political sense. So let's leave it there.
Okay. I want to take a quick break. When we return, how can we leverage on this to rescue our own girls entirely? It's a fundamental question everybody is asking on the back of this rescue. 6 days it took the security agencies to do this successful rescue. It's been almost a year and the 3 girls have not still been found. Is there anything we can learn from this to help us fix that? Stay with us on PMS. So when we return, we'll delve into that. So what lessons, Peter?
Yeah.
We have 3 Ghanaian girls who have been kidnapped as well. It's been almost a year. 2 foreign Canadian women kidnapped. 6 weeks, 6 days. We've rescued them successfully. No injury, in good health, etc. Why can't we do it for our own people?
Thank you, Evans. You're speaking as if, or the question is as if since the missing Takoradi girls, nothing like kidnapping ever happened until the Canadians. My brother Adam Bona will tell you, there were about 2 or 3 different things that happened.
It even makes my question even stronger.
Yes.
Because it involves 2 other foreigners.
So 4 foreigners kidnapped.
Yes.
2 of them rescued within 24 hours after they were kidnapped because information flow was timely. And then you have, let's say, 4 Ghanaians who were successfully kidnapped. 1 of them was rescued in less than 6 hours after the information came in Accra, Amasaman. And then 3 other Ghanaians still in captivity because then the family members, excuse me to say, were, the kidnappers blackmail them, don't tell the police, deal with us because we would put will do a lot of harm to your family members, will kill them if you do this. And so I'm sure your network recorded them saying that we were trying to pay our way to get our families returned. It was after we realized they were deceiving us that we had to go to the police. And this was, I think, after 2 weeks or a month. And so, like I said, any other day that these things are not reported, it becomes difficult. Even though very unfortunate, and we can't make excuses, they need to be rescued. But facts,
so that is why you say the Tadi kidnapped girls case is different from this?
It's different, totally different. It's totally different. And apart from that, I think my brother said something on your Joy.
Yes, today. Yes. We spoke to the sister, Ruth Love Quayson's sister.
Okay.
She was emphatic that within 24 hours, they were at the police station and reported her. You know, there are 3 different cases.
Yeah.
All the 3 girls, but it didn't happen the same day. Okay. Some of them happened months. But that particular girl's story, her sister says they were at the police station within 24 hours to report. They stood there for a long time, and nobody was even minding them until
Evans, may I have your permission
please.
To just share how we deal with emerging crimes? Mm-hmm. If you look at the Takoradi girls issue, and I want to salute the families. In fact, we are very sorry, and the state will do the best that we can to rescue these girls. Mm-hmm. But facts remain facts. Yes, the Takoradi girls issues, the issue of the Takoradi girls, you see, it was the first. It was the first major kidnapping issue in this country.
And it was like a joke.
Right?
The first
I can tell you,
high profile.
Oh, yeah, high profile kidnapping case. I can tell you when I was a recruit, even when I went as a senior officer to be trained, I was never trained to deal with kidnap cases because they don't exist at the time. Right? They don't exist in Ghana.
It's not
so
part of our...
we train to fate. Yes. Right now, it happened, and all of a sudden, every Ghanaian police officer look, what is happening? And Ghanaians are even saying, no, this is strange. It can't happen in this country. The reality is that it has emerged, and we need to train our men to deal with it. Okay. And gradually, you realize that after the Takoradi Girls incident, the police are becoming more conscious. The population is even becoming more conscious, and everybody is getting concerned about the fact that kidnapping is real, right? In those days, I could walk to my father's farm from school, 4 kilometers, in and out, and nothing happens. Today, my son cannot cross the road if I'm not there watching. That is what the world has become. So it has come to Ghana, and we are more conscious now than the time that it happened on the blind side of the police. And I'm sure that with time, we will get better. So and as he's saying, kidnapping, after 48 hours, you may lose it. Because just like somebody falling into a moving river, within 1 hour, if you don't do anything about it, you might find the body about 20, 30 kilometers away. Because it's very fluid, it's mobile, and you never know. Are they being kidnapped for ransom? Are they being kidnapped for trafficking?
By the way, in the Canadian case, could you say there was no talk of ransom?
Yes, but I'm saying there is always a drive.
Yes.
Why are they kidnapping? It is possible for ransom, probably for trafficking, probably for hate crime, and probably for publicity. Whatever it is, there is a drive behind it. And if you don't understand what motivates them, for instance, if they are motivated by trafficking, if they kidnap the people within 2-3 hours, they will be out of jurisdiction. And they're going to keep them somewhere to do compulsory prostitution, and they'll make money from them for years. So you might think that they're going to kill them. They don't need to kill them. They want to make money from them. So if you understand the motivation behind a particular kidnapping, then you understand how to deal with it.
Okay.
So every case is different, and every crime scene is unique. And the approach to every scene, determining what the police will do, is just the fact that the police
you're saying that it's going to be unfair to jump to the conclusion, as people have done today, that just because within 6 days they've rescued the Canadian girls, then it's a failure on a government's part.
We are insensitive towards the
insensitive when it has to be the Ghanaian.
That would be too populist. For me, that's from the factual and the security analytical point of view, anybody, if I probably didn't have knowledge in this area, I would have sounded the same. But knowing what I know, I would say it'd be too populist to say, because like I've shown you, the facts are there. Ghanaians have been kidnapped successfully, and the police have done,
Here's just a general thought before we wrap up, and this doesn't even go to the actual security thing of rescuing a kidnapped person, but it goes to the agency which the state attaches when its citizens are in trouble. Look at what the Canadians, within 24 hours, they've flown in all the way from Canada. They're experts to come and help. But find their 2 kidnapped girls. I wonder if that same agency Ghana has attached to looking for these 3 kidnapped girls? Have we seen, I'm not talking about the actual security efforts to find them, just urgency, devoting every resource possible to find them. You haven't had
no, we haven't done that. I mean, I've said it openly that most of those countries in the West are more responsible when it comes to dealing with their nationals. But our, usually elected officials don't do that. But one of the things I want to put on your network quickly is that looking at the number of people who are involved in this particular kidnapping, I don't know what the law says if the Chief Justice can do us any good. If we can have a public trial where these people would have the cameras on them to tell Ghanaians, the whole world, how they went about this whole thing, maybe that will put some amount of fear in those who are watching, just like we did with the Ayawaso West Wagon issue. If these guys are lined up and they are tried in public, and we are watching, the cameras are there, this new trend of crime, probably those who are coming in will know we are serious about it. I think it will be one of the things.
And as citizens will also get to know their modus operandi.
Yes, so we've got to do that. I will call for a public
very quickly.
trial.
Every Ghanaian is a potential victim. And every Ghanaian needs to understand that security starts with self. Let's be conscious, because it will be you tomorrow, your daughter, my daughter. Don't take it for granted. Life is changing, and the world is different today than yesterday. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Evan Spencer.